Guys, hang in there. I'm going to teach you something cool. Okay, so I had a dream, and in the dream I was doing a lot of stuff, and so I wasn't really aware what I was doing. But then I walk into a room, and there are two naked women there, and so I just stop and I look at them, and they were standing there they were standing very powerfully. And I thought to myself, maybe these are yoginis because they're naked and they're standing so powerfully. And then a third girl came out through a door, and she had a gray sweater and a red pants, and she was a little bit chubby. And I grabbed her face because at this point I was also thinking that maybe since there are two naked women standing here very powerfully in front of me, maybe this is a woman making machine factory, something like that. And so when she came out, I grabbed her face, I grabbed her by the cheeks, and I said, no, this one needs to get fixed. She's a little bit too thick and her face is wrong. And then I went to look at my reflection in the mirror, and I was like, maybe I can change my appearance and improve upon it if I look in the mirror. And so I tried to change my face, but I just became a little bit goofier and got a different jacket. And so I stepped away from it, but now I knew that I had hands because I had seen it in the mirror. And so notice that I'm getting through these actions that are happening in the dream, pretty much on autopilot. I am becoming more lucid because now I have seen my reflection and become self-aware. And becoming self-aware and realizing I have hands, I'm like, just feel right now. And do you feel that you don't want to meditate for a whole week right now because there's no sense of urgency? Yeah, that's very different than in a lucid dream. There's a sense of urgency, and I have to do my practice. And so I do my dream check, and I make a spiral in my hand. And leading up to this moment, whenever I saw pretty women in public, I would do a dream check. So I do my dream check now. And then I did something really smart, guys. I did a dream check on top of my head. Yeah. And then the dream entities said, he is using eagle pose. And another one said, okay, well then there won't be any more lucid dreaming tonight unless he's awakening very quickly. And then I feel they remove something between my teeth, which is another point I can't see with my eyes. And then I wake up. So two things, me doing a dream check on top of my head. I feel I do the dream check on top of my head. It bothered me last time because I did this, but I didn't do this, right? And then I get a second thing between my teeth where I also cannot see. They removed it felt like dental floss between my teeth was getting removed because I floss between my teeth every night. While it might feel like I'm just talking about my dreams and you're hearing about my dream journals, actually, if you're listening to this and you kind of want to do it, you're kind of a little bit jealous or you want to do the same, you're doing a ton of work. You're doing a ton of work through your dreaming right now by just being fascinated and listening. And dreaming in the Hindu system is related to the throat chakra, which is called Vishuddhi, which means a filter. Or you can think of it as a fantastic autopilot that creates pleasant dreams that help you become lucid, right? And here you see in your throat a symbol, and it's the seed mantra Hum, and it's a elephant, a white shiny elephant carrying a big white shiny pure orb of light, often referred to as a moon. It looks like a moon, but it isn't. It can also look like, when I saw it, I thought, that looks like a stage light. Yeah. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes when it appears, it's actually a moon. So there, it can take many forms. And then there's Panchavaktra Shiva. And there's a bunch of symbols here. Just look at them. You know, this is a symbol. You're not meant to know exactly what all of it means. You're just meant to look at it and make up your own thing. Why is he holding a drum? Why is he holding a fear-dispelling mudra? Why is he counting the beads of his mala necklace? Why is he surrounded by the cities of the lower chakras? Why is he holding a trident? Why? Why is he, for me, you know, he's like a empty vessel. But maybe I can go into that empty vessel and control it sometime, you know? And then there's also a Shakti known as Shakini. Yeah, she's holding scripture. She's holding a skull. She's also holding a mala, and she's also holding this axe for some reason. So she has a weapon, you know. And then you see here, she's surrounded by heads, and above her head there's hearing, there's sound, there's music. But another head has a very big nose, and the other head has very big eyes, another one has a really big mouth, and another one can feel very well because it's a hand. You know, you see that? So you know, that's like the senses right there. She has the senses. Like I had in the dream, I had senses. I could feel on top of my head. Yeah. And then there are these petals with the symbols. And we can start here and move around like this. And it goes like this. Im, im, om, rum, lrum, lrum, em, aim, om, aum, aha, aham. And it starts there and goes there. So, and then it's this finger, and then it's this toe. But I find it to be in me, it's the middle finger. So watch out for that. You can have a individual thing, you know, individual differences. Always beware of that. Look at this. I had a different dream where I was out and I had rented a electric bicycle. You can rent these. It's very nice in the warm weather. Feeling cool wind on my body feels very good. Feel it in the dream as well. And then a car, as I'm about to cross the road, slows down. And I cross the road after the car has slowed down. And I'm still driving in my speed, 20 kilometers an hour. And I drive across the road. And now he pretends to get very upset. Ah, it's so fast. Oh my God. Ah. And that is inciting conflict in the Karen way. So if you want the example of a Karen, it's a car driver. When you drive this, that slows down at the cross section, and you walk across the cross section on top of your bike, and nobody's hurt. In fact, I'm trying to save time, right? It's like, okay, you stop for me. I return the favor by saving you time. And he's like, it was so fast. 20 kilometers. It's like Karen, And then I reach a train station, and it feels like a place called Trondheim, which is a city. But it's actually before Trondheim, in a place, when I look at it, it's like, now I will soon be in Trondheim. So it's a small rural area, as you can see. This is not a city. It's surrounded by a lot of forest. And on this train station, I meet people, and they have cages on top of their heads, and they're wearing a raincoat. And I don't know. What have I written about these entities? Let me see. People in raincoats and cape with a cage on their head. They talk to each other. Maybe they have... maybe they're beekeepers or something. It looks a bit menacing, but seems to be neutral or good. Yeah. We can talk about the throat chakra of Sandanga Yoga. And it has some word in it. It has like the letter in it. And you see that one first. You see the syllable, and then you see the chakra second. And it's supposed to look like this. It's red, and has a 4 spreading off into 8 into 32 petals. Okay, and it's called the Sambhogakaya chakra. And then you have the Korlo, still Tibetan system, very similar, but with 16 spokes, nadi spokes. It can turn into a lotus flower, and that one is also kind of red, but it has like that red yellow. It's like candle light colors, so it's emitting a yellowish candle light opposed to a more blue white moonlight, which you will find on the heart chakra and the crown chakra. And then we can talk about Ahum and the rising of the fire to melt the crown of ice, to let the syllable hum come into the body, right? We can talk about that. Okay, so what I like to do is that I like to go to the gym, right? And when I'm at the gym, I work out and I lift weights, and I'm about to start sweating. But then I go in where the women and guys too are stretching, and it's kind of like this little area with mats where we do some yoga and we stretch after we work out. And so I'm not sweating, but I'm already warm, and my nostrils are equally open on both sides. And so I breathe in, hung, like really good inhale, right? And at this time, when I had written this, I would just do 8 times. Yeah? But as I've gotten better, and my navel has gotten better reaction time and become quicker, I can do 16, and on a good day I can do 32 times, right? And so I push my belly button in, and I tighten my core very, very quickly. And you can do in the beginning just 8 inhales and out 8 times, like I show in this. That can be your start, and you can see if you can get some heat going, right? But if you do it even faster, it's even better. And yesterday I did this at the gym. I had not begun sweating, so I went in, and there were 2 actually fairly attractive girls stretching there, and I did this until I was soaking in sweat. And when you do this, there's a very special smell coming off of you when you do this. It's a very pleasant smell, and I was soaking in sweat, and I was just emitting this pleasant smell. They pretended to not be interested in doing their own stuff, but it's undoubtedly true that they noticed me and they saw what I was doing. And you know what I like to believe? I like to believe that they were very impressed and found it fascinating and wanted to know more about what I was doing. Sunday, the 20th of July, I dreamt that I received a message from my plants that they wanted more water on their root, because I had been like dropping a little bit water and I hadn't been fully hitting their roots. And so when I got up that next morning, I gave them some water and made sure to get it on all of their roots, right? But I also dreamt that I was in a place where I was receiving teachings from an old woman about something. So here you see a nice old woman. And then I went to a shopping mall that was also a school. So, it's like you walk down the hallway, and if you take in here, you go into the shirt store. If you take in here, you go into a classroom, that kind of thing. And they were selling shirts, and once more I stopped and I looked at the shirts, And I started, start to become a little bit more lucid. So I look at I'm just standing there like, shirts, in the dreaming, as if in real life, if you were, I guess, kind of, I don't know, very tired or something, like in a altered state, you could say. Yeah. And there were these shirt makers there, and then I go outside and I meet like some girls. They're probably presenting something, because there was like this table that people will stand behind when they're like, hey, you want to vote on our party in the coming election or something like that. Or maybe it was me presenting to them. I don't know. We talked, right? And I felt like, yeah, that was very nice. That went well. Me talking to these women, yeah. And so I go back into the shirt store, and then I have to go to the toilet, and it is like in first person view, and I check if it's locked, and I'm basically sitting there in the dream, going to the toilet. While I'm at the toilet, I am receiving telepathic coaching in a guided meditation, and the voice was saying things like, yeah, like a flower with a beautiful smell, the smell that makes you want to piss. And I was in here, and I was in the dream taking a piss, right? So, little spoiler here, when I woke up the next morning, I hadn't peed my pants. But it's following this theme of being able to have sensations without what we typically would consider our body, right? And so I went into a gym wardrobe. He was very like, yeah, it's very impressive what you've done. What we're going to do next, we're going to wash your hair. But I need you to have the when you come back here. That's what we need in order for you to do it. So what he's probably talking about, he says, you need the meditative ritual and absorption of washing your hair through repetition, like you have with going to the toilet, so that we can do this here and get this transferred into the body. That's basically your Nirmanakaya body, right? The body that has learned to be a body and doesn't need to rely on other outside support narratives, such as there being a world, there being duality, all this stuff. And it's this going away through your spiritual practice. So big helper right here. And usually my helpers are always blonde for some reason. It's always blonde people, like very, like that's like the go-to symbol. So I found it kind of funny. But then, I am collected, I'm picked up, and I arrive in Chakra paradise, flying. The same way in Super Mario 64, you look up at a painting in the roof and then you transport it, right? Same thing happened to me, and I'm flying, right? So it's using that to bring me into Chakra paradise, and I fly over to the room in Vajrayogini's castle. And she wakes up, but she's not what I was expecting. She has PlayStation 1 graphics. So she's a polygon model, but then the graphics improve and she becomes more human-like, and I try to help by doing this. And I try to make her face right, and I try to make this as good as possible. When I'm done doing that, because I had a look at the area, and outside of the island there's a statue of Vajrayogini, and so I fly over to that statue, and when I come closer I see that it seems to be made out of Lego bricks or Minecraft, right? And she's not the typical Vajrayogini. She looks like this, right? I've never seen this one before. And she has a spear, and she throws, when I get over to her, she throws the spear. But look here, there's also something more than just her lotus. There's like flowers in front of the statue. So I guess those are supposed to be offerings or something. She throws the spear. I fly over to the spear. That has now become a bomb. And it's ticking down to 0, and then it explodes. Right? And this is very typical. This is not necessarily bad, because dreams, they are very cyclical and they go through changes in their process. And so you can be lucid but lose lucidity. But when it happens like this, you get to see the transitioning, right? And so it transitions from being whited out, and this almost like ego 5-MeO DMT stuff, it fades in, and now I'm holding this leash on a mountain hike with what seems to be that yogi dude who was teaching Yogananda, and he's behind holding the leash, and it was guiding me back, because I became more in touch with having a body when I was holding the leash to the dog. But then I noticed that I'm holding the leash of his dog, and I get self-aware about that. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hold the leash and be playing with the leash of your dog. And then I run, and then I see this cave thing, and I don't know what it is, but it reminds me of a cremation. It says it just reminded me of a cremation. And so now it whites out again, and I'm transported to this waiting room in a nice, calm hospital. And then I meet this girl in the hospital, and she says she gave me something, and she opens up her hand, but her hand is empty. And so I ask her, it's empty. No, I just gave you the bubonic plague, she said. And then I grab a hold of her and try to fix her, just like I fixed the Vajrayogini. And she turns into a older girl. And so now she's all grown up. And then I do it again, and she turns into this. And she says, ooh, I think I'm starting to like your female addiction. And yeah, she that's what she did. So for a third time, I try to do this. But now she runs away, and she does the Naruto trick, where, you know, the ninja escapes and leaves something else. And that ended up becoming a green orc that I saw at an exhibition. It's like a plastic thing for commercials that they have in the store when they were selling World of Warcraft. And that was the end of the dream. Something you can try to do if you want these kind of dreams and these kinds of effects. You can try to look at yogini chakras and just imagine them in front of you, or draw them in the air. And especially if you have like clear light stuff, try to work with that and see what you can do there. And try to get it. I think this one might be a little bit wrong, but try and do your best and work with it, and look for. Also, you can use this one, and if you're a girl, you can see them inside of yourself and use these chakras. But for guys, then dream signs, okay, is of course flying, because it's a dakini, you know, so it's a sky dancer. She's in the sky dancing. They used to, instead of doing SAD lamp and blinking your eyes like I do, what they used to do was to look at the sky. So they would see these in the sky. And if you look at a picture of Vajrayogini before you go to bed, and it's this picture, see if you can find women in your dreams that they sort of act like a power-up, and they, when you touch them, you can fly, you know, or they come pick you up. That's very common. That's a very common dream sign that it is working. But if you're using Vajra Varahi here, then they will pick you up often a little bit more like this. And it's kind of funny, because it's kind of like when you pick up a flying power-up in a video game, you grab them and then you'll start flying, and then special music will start playing. So it's kind of funny like that. Also remember the more what have I written here? If one can predict this dream theme within a short number of days, you're really good. Yeah, it's difficult, and it's like don't give up just because it doesn't happen the first night. Yeah, it's gonna need a little bit practice to upload this thing, but also you need to be aware of how it works. It works by making you a little bit pissed off and provoking. We need that kind of energy to reach into your dreaming. So some of the advice that you hear will be like, ugh, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And just there's enough information online, and especially if you see this and you get a little bit angry by looking at the picture, that means that you should definitely try it, because it's using that to get in, and there's a wrathful element to Vajra Varahi and Vajra Yogini, which is that they